Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to your own Silicon Valley Tech Talks show. This is your host, Faisal Vatu from San Jose, California. Today, I'm here at Broadcom's campus in Silicon Valley. Broadcom is one of the pioneer companies for wireless connectivity innovations. Billions of people around the world are benefiting from Broadcom's wireless connectivity innovations and products. Today, we'll talk to someone who has lived through Broadcom's journey of wireless innovations and have been part of the team which has created this tremendous impact for the world. We're fortunate to have Vijay Nagarajan as our guest today. Vijay is Vice President of Broadcom's Wireless Connectivity Business Unit. He also heads strategic marketing for Broadcom's semiconductor division. So without any further delay, let's go and talk to Vijay and learn much more about Broadcom's innovations and products. Hello, Vijay. Welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you. Thanks for coming over to the Broadcom offices. It's a pleasure to have you, and it's always a pleasure to talk Wi-Fi.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Vijay, so when I think of Broadcom, the tagline comes to mind, connecting everything. And I know that you have also talked about being connected by Broadcom multiple times. So for my audience, can you elaborate this a little bit more? How does Broadcom connect from edge to cloud?
Sounds good. And that's great. That's a great starting point. It's a great question. That's one that I love to answer all the time. One of the things that we've been, for ages talking about is the fact that 99% of the internet traffic in the world goes through at least one Broadcom chip. And that is sort of a fascinating piece of statistic that we're very, very proud of. And what does that mean? That means that you have the data travels through at least one connectivity chip and starts all the way from Wi-Fi, goes through a broadband chip, right? So which is, you have broadband technologies that also Broadcom supplies. And then as you get into the network, you're talking about network connectivity, wired network connectivity, Ethernet, for example, is an example. Classic technology that is being used in the core of the network. Then as you get into the data centers, again, data center connectivity, whether it is Ethernet, whether it's PCI, whether it's optical technologies, we have everything from the edge to the cloud. And that's where the connecting everything tagline comes in and fits so perfectly well with what Broadcom does here.
So Vijay, can you tell us a little bit more about the portfolio of Broadcom wireless solutions? Is Wi-Fi the primary focus? What about cellular, Bluetooth, satellite communication, and other forms of wireless technologies?
It's a great question. So I work with the wireless connectivity division at Broadcom, and the focus for us is not just Wi-Fi, but a whole bunch of wireless connectivity technologies. That is Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, there's GPS. Or GNSS, and also the 802.15.4 technology. So all of these, to the extent that they're adjacent technologies that we would use either on the client side or on the access side, are technologies that we focus on. We do have sister divisions at Broadcom that also work on filters for cellular. So to the extent that the RF front end for the cellular devices need filters to make sure that these different cellular bands are addressed, that's also another piece of technology that Broadcom does. But again, if you were to focus on my division, it's Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and 15.4.
You have lived through the evolution of Wi-Fi technology from its inception to where we are today. You must have noticed that in last 2.5 decades, primary focus of Wi-Fi evolution has been on data rate improvements. And obviously that resulted into better user experiences and new use cases. But what about the future? Is data rate evolution mindset still going to be the primary thing, or there are other aspects we need to prioritize, and why?
No, it's a good question, but I do want to sort of clarify that I think the industry has moved away from the notion of data rate, I would say, for a little over a decade already now, right? And the way I look at it from a Wi-Fi perspective is the speed, which is data rate. That was the first vector to go conquer. And the first generations of Wi-Fi, A, B, G, N, that was their focus. Going into the 2010s, things have changed. And you have to look at it from the perspective of what are the use cases somebody is trying to go solve for. Back in 2008, 2009, the focus was on mobile internet. So in order to get you to mobile internet, you needed speeds and feeds. And you needed that for mobile devices as well. So the focus was on making sure that you have better data rate across mobile devices in your homes. Now, when you transition to the 2010s, I think we went from just having phones for internet to wanting to watch videos wherever we are, mobile videos. What that requires is not just data rates and speeds, but you also, to some extent, need coverage. You need to make sure that that data rate goes across to different devices which are sitting in different places in a building, whether it's a home or an office. So, when you looked at 802.11ac, which is back in 2012, I think the focus moved to coverage. So that's where, beamforming as a technology was introduced and productized. So there was a shift going from data rate to coverage. Now, when you proceed further into the 2010s, say talk about 2018, 2019, you as a consumer, you not only consume those videos, but you were creating videos, and you were not just creating videos as in video content, but you're actively using, think WhatsApp, for example. You're actively using video to actually and push data out into the cloud. So you were creating video as well, creating content as well. So that required a step back, and you look at Wi-Fi technology and see what is the right way to approach it. So Wi-Fi 6, which happened in 2019 timeframe, those are nuts and bolts redesign of Wi-Fi that focused on, not just speeds, not just coverage, but on network capacity. Now, how do you make sure that more of these devices are actively using the channel and they're able to interconnect and proceed? Now, as you enter 2020s, 2022, 2023, now there is a larger emphasis on latency and network capacity. Again, think the AR and VR glasses that Meta's producing. Now, you really need those devices to have extremely low latency and very high reliability communication. So, now we've moved from speeds to coverage to now focusing on capacity and latency. And that's what Wi-Fi 7 strives to do. And, it's my firm conviction that that's what the future generations of Wi-Fi will also focus on, Wi-Fi 8 for that matter.
So talking about Wi-Fi 7, you just mentioned, how would you explain the value proposition of Wi-Fi 7 to a common everyday user? Why should they upgrade their device because their device has Wi-Fi 6 but not Wi-Fi 7?
Well, that's a great question. And, that's partly what I do is I have to step back every single time and think about how I sell Wi-Fi to my mom. Okay, that's what I do for my job. So one of the things we did about 5-6 years ago is to say, what? I can't go convince my mom that she needs to go buy 11AX router or 11AC router. That doesn't make sense. So we said, okay, let's step back and rename Wi-Fi. Let's go with this generational nomenclature. We pushed the industry to go adopt a generational nomenclature. So I can go to my mom and say, Mom, go get 7. 7 is better than 6, and then 6 is better than 5. Now, jokes apart, what does 7 bring, right? First up, having that conversation with the consumer that, a next generation of Wi-Fi is available. It's that much easier when there is a generational nomenclature. Okay, that's 7 now. So you're able to say, hey, what are you going to do with 7? I think to my mom, I'd go say, listen, I think if you need better video, right? Low latency, you don't need any of those buffering that you're encountering right now. You want to go with Wi-Fi 7. Faisal, you're a technical person. The case in point here is that with Wi-Fi 7, 6 gigahertz also becomes pretty much mainstream. 6E introduced 6 gigahertz. A lot of devices had 6 gigahertz, but with Wi-Fi 7, 6 gigahertz becomes mainstream. What that means is you have really clean channel that you can use to make sure that you have that low latency communication, you have that high reliability, high capacity communication. So that's what I would focus on when I go convince my mom. I said, hey, you want low latency? I wouldn't say low latency, but if you want that bufferless video, if you want your grandchildren that come to your home, work on their gaming devices, or if you want your son wears these AR glasses, if he needs to have a good experience, that's where Wi-Fi 7 comes in. So that's what I would do.
Well said. You talked about the spectrum, 6 gigahertz. Great that this spectrum can be used in US for Wi-Fi. However, will we have spectrum harmony with respect to 6 gigahertz globally? EU and China, will they also allocate this spectrum for Wi-Fi use? If not, then I'm assuming there will be complexities in the supply chain and the device design. So what's your perspective?
I think, no, it's a good question. Again, I think that the benefits of 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi are there for everyone to see. And I think most nations, most countries see it. Today, about 70% of the world's GDP actually has 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi enabled. We believe that's going to continue. It's been a hard lift. It's been a heavy lift. There's no doubt, Faisal, we've been working at it for about 5, 6, 7 years, working with regulators worldwide to go make this happen. But that mountain is moving. I think we're there. We've inched to about 70% of the GDP. We expect that to grow up to a good degree. We expect harmonization. That's what we're working towards.
On the similar lines, cellular 6G standardization is also happening. And there is a lot more talk about spectrum convergence between cellular and Wi-Fi. Are you concerned about it?
No, not at all. Look, every time I go talk about cellular and Wi-Fi, I say they're complementary technologies. They are, right? You cannot replace Wi-Fi in your home, nor can you replace cellular when you're out in a park. It's very simple. Those are technologies that are complementary to each other. You need both of them. When Wi-Fi 6 was out there, my marketing message was Wi-Fi 6 and 5G are complementary. Wi-Fi 6E and 5G are complementary. 7 and Wi-Fi 7 and 5G are equally complementary. So each of these technologies have their homes, have their use cases, and they're absolutely going to be complementary. Now, if there is an effort to make sure that there's a seamless transition between cellular and Wi-Fi, and you as a consumer are benefiting from it and getting that seamless experience, getting the same experience with Wi-Fi as you would get with cellular and vice versa, that's what the industry should strive for, and that's where the convergence matters. But broadly speaking, they're absolutely complementary technologies.
Vijay, I'm wondering if you have any early perspective on how connectivity can improve the AI experiences. For example, right now, if you see these big models are getting trained in data centers with these GPUs and inference is being, used as a use case. Obviously, you need better connectivity whenever there is communication between the entities. So that is given. But beyond that, do you have any view on how connectivity or communication plays a role in improving the AI experiences?
Look, man, I've said this before and I'll say this again. There's no AI without Wi-Fi. And I say that not so lightly. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of things that have to happen behind the scenes on the AI front, whether it is LLMs, whether it's getting the infrastructure in place and all that. But you as a consumer, if your phone does not have Wi-Fi, then you're not going to send those AI queries out to the cloud. So I think fundamentally, connectivity is important, you said it. But then in terms of the experiences itself, what is going to make this experience better? You don't want that AI query to, circle and buffer, right? And that shouldn't be because of that edge connectivity. So you want to make sure that Wi-Fi and broadband, the connectivity at the edge, they're seamless and they're optimized for your experience with an AI engine, with an LLM, with an AI app. And that's where, as I said, the aspects of latency and network capacity come in. To the extent that we, as a company, as an industry, make sure that those use cases are addressed, that's how connectivity is going to expand and make your AI user experience better. Now, that's not all. From a Broadcom perspective, we do focus on broadband platforms. Broadband connectivity is something that we work on. So broadband technologies that are complementary to Wi-Fi. And for us, the broadband platform, your set-top boxes in your home, for example, is an edge platform for us. And there are things that can be done in terms of compute that helps offload what the servers need to be doing, and that can be exchanges back and forth. So if you are sort of including broadband technologies as part of broadband connectivity, there's a lot that can be done at that edge.
Thank you very much, Vijay,
you,
for
Faisal.
joining our show. I'm sure audience learned a lot from your insights.
No, thank you, Faisal. Thanks for coming over again. I think it was a pleasure to talk to you. And as you can see, it's Wi-Fi is a very passionate subject for me. So you can call me anytime, and I'm happy to talk Wi-Fi. Okay, thank you, Faisal.